He's coming. Connecting.
Sir, வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன் டாக்டர்.
டாக்டர் ஒரு நெக்ஸ்ட் நான் பேசிக்கிட்டுங்களா? கொஞ்சம் ரெடி ஆகிக்கிறேன் நான்.
ஓகே.
அந்த பவர் பாயிண்ட் போட்டுக்கிறேன் நான்.
சரி, போடுங்க.
யாரா ஒருத்தர் நீங்கள் இடையில சொல்லுங்க, நான் ரெடி பண்ணிக்கிறேன்.
ஆல் ரைட்.
யாரா ஒருத்தர் இன்னொருத்தர் பேச சொல்லலாம் வந்துட்டு.
சரி, ஓகே. Now we'll request Dr. Ilamurugan Ayya. He will enlighten us on consciousness before birth and after death. பிறப்புக்கு முன்னும் இறப்புக்கு பின்னும் டாக்டர் இளமுருகன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். ஐயா கேக்குதுங்களா?
Yes, doctor. Quite clear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, one second. வாழ்க வையகம். வாழ்க வளமுடன். குருவே துணை. அன்னையை தன் ஆசானை வணங்கி மகிழ்வோம். Be blessed by the divine. Be blessed by the divine and be blessed by the divine. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, wisdom, and peace. I am consciously delighted to be part of this great deliberations. Confluence of Swami's disciples, consciousness 360 degree. I very greatly appreciate the noble efforts of beloved uncle Dr. Abindranath, Director R&D, his team, and all the spiritual members, truth seekers, science, philosophers, and members of Loving Sky family. As every senior professor mentioned, our life itself is a journey of consciousness. My topic for today's discussion is consciousness before birth and after death. As disciples of our revered Swamiji, and with the wisdom imparted by him, we all will agree that consciousness is everywhere, not only before birth and after death, but also during life, the incident between the two, birth and death. Still, in this confluence, let us re-emphasize it by recalling Swamiji's own words. To understand consciousness, streamlining the mind and disciplining the deeds with constant awareness is necessary, as we all know. May the truth that very self is a transformed state of space, thereby enlighten our consciousness to its perfection, so as to deal with everything properly, harmoniously, and compatibly. Man himself is consciousness, and the seat of consciousness is the soul, the spiritual phenomenon within his body. Man is the mind, which is the psychic activity of the soul by the contact with the outer world through the senses. Man is God when he realizes the primordial state within himself. Man is God when he realizes the primordial state within himself beyond the functions of the mind and the soul. It is realized that matter or truth is one, it is consciousness. The mind is only the peripheral state of consciousness. I repeat, the mind is only the peripheral state of consciousness, enjoying and experiencing the physical world. This realization of consciousness, the inner vision of one's own self, can be had only through yoga, inner travel. The nature of consciousness we will discuss in 3 small portions. Before birth, the consciousness is everywhere. In life, the nature of consciousness is given here. I'm going to deal with it in the coming slides. And after the death, again, it goes and merges with the nature, and again, it is there everywhere. In all inanimate objects, from the tiniest particle to the greatest star in the universe, the consciousness is functioning with 3 principles, as we all know: pattern, precision, and regularity. Tanmai, Tulliyam, Iyakka Olungu. When we say consciousness is order of function in everything and in everywhere, it is easy for us to understand the 3 fundamental functioning of consciousness in the inanimate objects as pattern, precision, regularity. This is what is known as functional consciousness. In the living beings, this develops further with perceptual ability. In this state, consciousness functions with 3-fold action, as we all know: cognition, experience, and discrimination. Unardal, Anubhavittal, Pirittu Unardal. In man, apart from this 3-fold action, the faculty of realization of the mystic phenomena, mind, soul, and truth develops. It is the development of consciousness in the human being because of the 6th sense. So when we function with mind, when we understand soul, we realize consciousness. This represents the realization of consciousness and the peak, the pinnacle glory, and the goal of the 6th sense. In other words, in all human beings, consciousness further develops its character through the 6th sense, which has the faculty of realizing its own self. The functional character of consciousness in all living beings is called life in simple terminology. There are 3 stages in the functioning fields of life. They are universal life, physical life, and sensing life. The universal life is the basic energy for the other 2 stages. It is the energy field or the universal field where the consciousness exists. It is supreme and divine, again, total consciousness. It is the ground for all manifestations and functions of the universal. Again, the greatest work of consciousness. If we realize them, the extension and expansion of consciousness from the energy particle to the body, to the world, to the universe, and to the truth, all these are mental functions. The Almighty, total consciousness, exists and precisely functions without error in all manifestations of the universe as a law of nature. Realizing the existence, function, and results of the universal rhythm and biomagnetism is the ultimate aim of all sciences in the world. If we understand the functioning of the consciousness in all the inanimate and animate objects from the primordial state of the human being, we can correlate consciousness is everywhere and only consciousness is there in all places. And to understand it, as I mentioned in the first slide, we have to meditate, meditate, and meditate. When Dr. Ravindranath was instructing me to present this topic, I have deepened my meditation. I have gone to different trance states of mind and then realized we have to perform more meditation to understand the consciousness. It can be expressed in words simply taken from Swamiji's books, but his revelation should be understood by us only by our constant practice. I will take only 2 slides to exhibit the importance of consciousness before birth, during, and after death. Every single wonder that happens in the world, in the body, in the universe, is nothing but the labyrinth work of consciousness. To realize the intrinsic, amazing complexity and faculty of consciousness, we should reflect on the wonderful development of a child in the womb. When an egg and sperm are conjoined, that is, the fetus forms as consciousness follows the principles of pattern, precision, and regularity. Who else can carry out this systematic growth and development from a minuscule utilized egg to a complete human being in all its differentiated yet integrated complexity and potential and consciousness? So, my brothers and sisters, it is only a beginning. We have to go very deep into our meditation, and through inner travel, only we can understand the consciousness, and then only it is possible for us to share and to express and to bring it to the scientific forum. We all know that the world today is progressing in scientific research, technology, and in providing numerous faculties that are elevating the living system of mankind. When we examine all these wonderful developments, it can be understood that all are the functions of consciousness working through human mind and intellect. I thank every one of you for giving me this nice opportunity and listening very patiently. I pray Almighty to bless all of us to enjoy good health, long life, prosperity, wisdom, and peace. வாழ்க வளமுடன். Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. Excellent journey to before birth and after death. And now we may call upon Dr. K. Perumalaiah. I hope you are ready now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். Be blessed by divine. May the whole world enjoy prosperity, wisdom, and peace. Respected Dr. Rabindranath and respected professors, dear brothers and sisters, really, I appreciate the efforts of the organizers for selecting the topic consciousness. Really, it's a wonderful idea. So various speakers are giving different ideas. Everything originates from the Swamiji's philosophy. Swamiji has dealt with the consciousness in depth. The Almighty at the space or the God, which has the total consciousness. And in the evolution process, starting from the dust particle and later on the atoms, molecules, then the living beings, everything that possesses a part of that consciousness. In inanimate things, there is a consciousness. In animate things, there is a consciousness. So the consciousness develops further. So only when it comes for the human being, that there is a possibility for the human being to achieve the maximum consciousness. Generally, the mind, we say, we relate the mind here. So the mind, which is a biomagnetic wave, which acts as a medium here. So these are all the things already dealt here. I'm just passing on that. Yeah. Generally, day-to-day life, what happens is, the mind acts in the 5 ways. Because the topic given to me is consciousness of daily life, I first take it to the 5 kosas. That is generally, we are much related to the body level senses. And we want to have more enjoyment, either maybe food or maybe sensual enjoyments. That we call as the Annamaya kosa. And coming to the next one, the Manomaya kosa, keeping on with some imagination and engaging with some habitual thoughts, that we call as the Manomaya kosa. Then coming to the Pranamaya kosa, here only that differs a little bit for the human being. He starts concentrating. Yeah, there he differs from the other animals. So that we call as the Pranamaya kosa. Then coming to the Vijnanamaya kosa. So this is specifically suitable only for the human kind. He intuitively analyzes everything, gets the answer, goes deep. So all the science and technology development are from this Vijnanamaya kosa. Then coming to the Anandamaya kosa. So finally, this fractional consciousness, when it merges with the total consciousness, and it enjoys all the total energy and the total consciousness as its own, and mind almost stops its functions and merges with the Almighty, that we call as the Anandamaya kosa. And when we see the consciousness level, or we can say the peripheral level and the middle level and the superconscious level, how far the mind has gone deep. So generally we operate with the Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. In the day-to-day life, mostly the mind is related to the Jnanendriya and Karmendriya. And at times we rarely go for the subconscious state. Very rarely we go for that superconscious mind. But Swamiji has given the technique, particularly the different types of meditation, which takes us deeply, and we can go and reach that the final stage also. See here, so these are the waves already, which has been described by so many our speakers. But however, why I want to have it here is the beta, alpha, theta, delta, that we will be knowing that. So what happens here is the conscious level from beta to alpha increases, then theta further increases, then delta further increases. Then where the consciousness, there is a possibility for the human consciousness, fractional consciousness, to merge with the total consciousness. So through the way of meditation, the higher frequencies can be brought down, subtler frequency. Finally, and it can reach to the delta wave and the total consciousness. Yeah, then these are all the different karmas recorded in the genetic center. Yeah. Then what can we do now? Yeah. So now in the daily life, generally our conscious level varies to different levels. If you're really conscious about your the purpose of life and the way of life, and go along with the law of the nature, then really your life will be an enjoyable one. And how much you deviate from the law of the nature, that much then problems you have to face in the life. So what to do for it? So that's why Swamiji has given the different practices, so by which we can streamline the mind and we can always enjoy the benefits of the consciousness. Normally, because of the sensual interactions and the disturbances, the real consciousness level that moves away and we are disturbed, irritated, frustrated, and by which the conscious level comes down and the sensual activity, it takes up there. And all the problems are coming to the human life. But by constant practice, but Swamiji has given a very wonderful techniques, the exercise, kayakalpa, meditation, introspection, all the techniques he has given, wonderful techniques, by which we can streamline the body and the mind, and the daily activity can be improved there. So how much a person is conscious in the daily life, that much the life becomes an enjoyable one. But generally, the man, he goes by the habit and commits all the mistakes in the day-to-day life. Even though he had the different experiences on different days, he forgets everything and he commits the same mistakes. But once he practices, tunes the mind to the theta stage and the delta stage, surely his conscious level will go high. The pattern of life will be different from that. So the consciousness, even though the consciousness is everywhere, taken from the atoms, molecules, and the cells of the body, and everywhere, then how it operates through the mind, that becomes the pattern of the life now. So in the daily life, how much we live under the state of alpha or theta and delta, that much our way of life will be different from others. So these are all the different techniques given by the elders and recommended by Swamiji also. So the meditation, Swamiji has given different types of meditations. So each meditation will help us to bring down the mental frequency. And finally, when it becomes to the subtler stage, I think the conscious level will go high. So the prayer, yoga, introspection, so everything, so that helps to improve the conscious level. And finally, what we can say is, Swamiji has given, even though he has given all the techniques now, the meditation, particularly Duryodhana meditation, what he has given is a wonderful technique by which anybody who practices sincerely, when the mind finally merges with the absolute space, and when the mind occupies the frequency almost 2, 3 in the level, that merges with the Almighty and becomes the total consciousness. So all the unwanted qualities, the greed, the anger, the miserliness, the immoral sexual passion, the vanity and the vengeance, everything, they go out of the mind. And it fills with the good qualities. So Swamiji has given a wonderful technique by which anybody can reach that level. The only thing is you have to practice it sincerely and continuously. So in a day-to-day life, we are tempted to deviate from the normal life. We are tempted to deviate to commit the mistakes. By habits, by Sanchita karma and Prarabdha karma, we are again and again committing the same mistakes. But by practice, by meditation, by awareness, surely we can come out of that way and we can keep our conscious level high. and we can lead a new life. So that's why Swamiji has given the meditation and introspection as a two wings for achieving that at that higher level of the spiritual platforms. So in a day-to-day life, generally we become addicted to our habits, same mistakes we commit, and the same problems we face. But by introspection, we can analyze and we can bring our mind where we deviate, and again we can correct ourselves and bring the life to the normal pattern. The universe is a wonderful one, and we have been given an opportunity to live as a human being and to develop the consciousness and to enjoy that total consciousness. A chance is given by the Almighty for us to reach that level and enjoy that omnipotent and the omniscient nature of the Almighty. So normally by habit and by the Sanchita Karma, and we commit the same mistakes and we deviate from the normal way of living and we face the problems. But God has given everything. He has provided everything. That's why we call him as providence. He has provided everything for the comfortable living of the human being. Besides all these things, why we suffer? Because we deviate from the normal way of living. Even though that consciousness is available everywhere, and there are some possibilities for us to pick up that level, and like Samuji and so many the wise persons have given the technique to align ourselves, and generally we are not adapting to that, and we go in the way in our mind says, and we suffer a lot. So for which only Samuji has given a very nice technique, simplified Kundalini yoga technique. Anybody who follows that, slowly and gradually the mind can be turned inward, and by introspecting, all these unwanted things can be taken away from the mind and we can enjoy the life. So the purpose of the life is to achieve that self-realization, and the fractional consciousness that has to become the total consciousness. That is, even though it is everywhere and the consciousness develops, and in the case of inanimate things, already said that the pattern, precision, regularity, that consciousness is exhibited. Coming to the living beings, it comes as a cognition, experience, and the discrimination. Coming to the human being with the sixth sense, I think he can reach the total consciousness by meditation and the introspection. So these are all the possibilities available for the human being. But generally, when we see that even though there are some 780 crores of people living here, and how many people are reaching that higher level of platform in that consciousness level? And mostly less than 1% may be there. But anybody who makes an attempt for it, surely they can enjoy that benefit. And the Mahans like Samuji, they have given the right way. By sincere practice and the regular practice, anyone can achieve that level and enjoy that higher level of the consciousness. What will be there in the higher level of consciousness? Yes, there will not be any more problems in your daily life and the physical world. And you are here to enjoy the life. And you can make your fractional consciousness to merge with the total consciousness and enjoy that blissful state or the ecstasy. And we are not here to lead the life with the Annamaya Kosa or just the Manomaya Kosa. So they are for the animals. And we can start from the Pranamaya Kosa, Vijnanamaya Kosa, and finally, and we can retain ourselves for a long time in the Anandamaya Kosa. Yes, there are so many secrets are available there in the supraconscious mind. Generally, we operate in the peripheral mind or the outer conscious mind. Rarely we go to that subconscious mind. But there is a possibility for us to go to that superconscious mind by deep meditation. Yes. Any sky member who are sincerely practicing, surely there is a possibility for them to go to that superconscious state and merge the mind with that Almighty and enjoy that total consciousness. So I'm happy that the organizers has given me a chance to say something about the consciousness in the daily level, but it's a beginning. Samuji has given everything in detail, and we will analyze, and further we will improve, and we have a lot of things to discuss. So thank you very much for the doctors and the other organizers for giving me an opportunity. வாழ்க வளமுடன், வாழ்க வளமுடன், வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன், Professor. It was a wonderful journey with you, and just a beginning, and definitely more are yet to come, and we will continue the journey. And next, we will call upon Dr. Nakiran. Professor Nakiran, you can enlighten us on the level of consciousness, உணர்ச்சி நிலைகள்.
Be blessed by the divine. Sir, I am audible. Am I audible?
Yeah, sir. Please continue.
Yes.
Yeah. Continue.
Be blessed by the divine. By invoking Swami Vethathiri Maharishi, let me discuss on the level of consciousness. In Tamil, there was a cinema song where he says that the poet demands two minds, two consciousness he wanted. One is to remember, the other one is to forget. But Swamiji says that there is three level of consciousness within the body. And there is one consciousness which is called universal consciousness, just away from the body, but always in link with the body. That is universal consciousness. So totally Swamiji says there are four levels of consciousness. The first consciousness, Swamiji says, is the peripheral consciousness. So to understand the peripheral consciousness, Swamiji has conducted a small practice that if you want to practice it now for about 2 minutes, you can be with me and do a small meditation on the index finger so that we can understand the level of consciousness. So you can show your index finger. My index finger is visible to you?
Visible, Doctor.
Yeah. Now you can show your index finger with you and then close your eye and meditate on the index finger. Now we are focusing our attention on the index finger. Our mind is now focused on the index finger. So focusing an attention on a particular thing is called meditation. Now we are meditating on our index finger. Just remembering only index finger, nothing else. By closing our eye, now our mind is focused on the index finger. Now slowly you can open your eye and look at me. We have meditated on our index finger. With the index finger, now we have to touch our cheek. Please touch. Are you touching?
Yes, sir.
Now, where you are touching? I am touching where, you know?
Yes.
Yes,
Forehead.
I am touching on the forehead. But
Yes.
where I ask you to touch?
Cheek.
Cheek. But how many of you could touch the cheek? Swamiji conducted this experiment in the hall here. So it is Swamiji. Swamiji said it is not to cheat you, but to understand the level of consciousness. Now you can take out your hand. Swamiji says that the peripheral consciousness, when our consciousness is working at the peripheral level, periphery means the outer body. On the periphery of the body, we have eyes, we have ears, we have mouth, we have the skin, we have the nose. All these 5 sense organs are at the periphery of the body. And hence, the consciousness, when it works through the periphery, the consciousness is called peripheral consciousness. So now what has happened? The ear is hearing the cheek. That is why you said where you are touching, where I asked you said cheek. Ear is hearing cheek, but eye is looking at the forehead, my index finger moving to the forehead. So the forehead is one touching sense. Eye is the watching sense. So the seeing and touching, both the sense overcome the hearing sense. So the majority worked out here, and the reality is hearing only is proper. What I am doing is not proper. What I am seeing is not proper, whereas what I heard is proper. That is chi. So Swamiji said that when you work at the peripheral consciousness, there are going to be always mistakes. Chances for mistakes are more. That is why all these problems, everywhere, right from the family to the country, the ruling, everywhere we encounter one or other results which we never expected. What? Yet in a classroom, a teacher is teaching a single problem. What could be the answer for that problem? Only one answer could be the problem. The same question, when it is asked to 40 students are attempting the problem. How many answers is expected to come? The teacher expects only one answer, but how many answers actually comes is around 30 answers. Why so? Because many work on the peripheral level, only few work on the conscious, subconscious level. Swamiji goes to the next level. The next level is called subconscious mind. It is, once again Swamiji said that if I conduct the same experiment to ask you to touch the forehead, even though if I touch the forehead, you will never follow me. First, you will question your mind, that is your memory, whether I am touching my forehead or not. You will conform with your memory. Because when I asked you where I touched, you are able to say forehead. It is not written on my face, this is cheek, which is forehead. But how you are able to identify? Because when you are in the LKG or UKG, when ma'am taught the parts of body, we listened to it carefully, we understood the name. Now it is recorded in your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind level is connected with the memory level, with the brain. The brain level, memory cells, it is stored. So the consciousness, when it works with your memory, it is at subconscious level. When you consult your subconscious level, you will not commit any mistake. There is no chance for committing mistake. Because subconscious mind knows everything. But the thing is, we are not going to the subconscious mind. We are not consulting it. We are not acting on this. The subconscious mind level is called, it is in the realized state. We are able to consult, conform, then you do it. The peripheral level is called temperamental state. When our mental frequency is above 14, we would be always in the temperamental stage, and the mind will work at the periphery, and the peripheral consciousness is found to commit errors. When we work under the subconscious level, that is, when you bring our mental frequency below 14, you are now touching the subconscious mind. The depth, how much you go is how much you practice Agna and Turiyam, how much you involve in Turiyam. The moment when you think you are in Turiyam, your mental frequency is at 8 or below that. Yes, you are in the subconscious level. So now we are able to identify the peripheral consciousness, which works at the sensory level, perception, then the subconscious level, which works at the mind, memory level. So these two are the two levels of consciousness. The third consciousness is there, which is connected with the genetic center, that is superconscious mind. Swamiji says it is called superconscious mind. The superconsciousness is responsible to realize the sin and sin imprints, or the suffering, the cause for it, the cause and effect. It is able to perceive it, or it is able to reflect in our life, getting the partner for the life, getting the boss for the life, getting success in the business. This all comes under the cause and effect imprints. The imprints in the past, imprints the past we call it as by birth. When it comes through the tradition, it is the Sanchita Karma. Then from the day when we are born till today, what we have done, which is having imprints in our body, that is there in the genetic center. It is in the superconscious mind. Swamiji says that it is connected with that. Then what we are going to do also is going to get connected. contact, and it will be stored as in imprints. So that will be connected, for which it is connected with the genetic center, which is directly connected with the life force particles. So unless you turn your mind to the life force itself, your conscious level goes and merges with the life force itself, you will not be able to touch the super consciousness. That is why thurium and below thurium, it helps, Swamiji says. So thurium level, we are connecting to the life force itself. In the life force itself, the particles in the super conscious mind, it works. Then the universal consciousness, which is beyond this body, throughout the universe, and it is directly centered in our body with the genetic center. It has a constant link with the genetic center, and from which it connects so much of genetic centers, the planets, every center is connected, because mathematics says that through a center, a point, you can draw any number of radians. Many meridians can pass through a center. Since our genetic center is also a point through which many meridians can pass through, so it connects with the super conscious mind, is connected with the total consciousness. To go to the total consciousness, your mind wavelength should be expanded. When your mind wavelength gets expanded, you are connected with the universal consciousness, where the universal consciousness will always in contact with you by way of intuition. That's what Swami says. It sparks like an intuition, what is to be done, what not to be done, what will happen. If you are guided by your intuitionary level, you will be a highly achiever. You will be able to achieve success throughout your life beyond the imagination. That is called the divine. That is the divine consciousness which works through you, as Swamiji says that. Being a weaver, Swamiji wants to help the society. Swamiji wants peace. When he started meditating, as he keep on meditating, when he went into the Turyatit meditation, when his mental frequency came down below 3, he say about 1, when it comes down, as per the science, the mental wave, the frequency comes down, the wavelength increases. Swamiji says that the mind wave, the blessings, when he says that about blessings, you should understand the wave concept. The light wave, we have got a velocity, light velocity. We have got light frequency, we have got light wavelength, lambda. So they have given a formula. F lambda, velocity is equal to F lambda, frequency multiplied by lambda. Now lambda is the wavelength. And when I want lambda, I have to divide the velocity by frequency. So velocity, mind velocity is much, much faster than the light velocity. It can go to America and come down. It can go to universe and come down. So in that, such a fast velocity I have as a source, and I have a frequency, but I can reduce the frequency. When I reduce the frequency to 8, my wavelength increases. When I bring it to the 4, my wavelength becomes double. Now, when I bring it to the 1, it is almost like 0. As the frequency tends to 0, my mental wavelength tends to infinity. Infinity is nothing but God. Infinity is nothing but universal consciousness. So I can merge with the universal consciousness. So if your mental frequency is always below 4, yes, your consciousness is at the level of universal consciousness, where you will understand the cause and effect and what will happen. You will be able to realize it and get it as an intuition. So now it is very simple, Swamiji says. Mind is already there, it's a natural source with us. Mental frequency is the only thing, if I am conscious of my mental frequency, I can always keep the mental frequency at least in the thurium level, means subconscious level. With that, I can work with the peripheral consciousness. If I can go deep in the meditation, I can go at the super conscious level, where I can work and I can also get connected with the intuitionary level. And if I keep practicing the meditation of Thuriyam, Thuriyadidam, my consciousness will go and merge with the universal consciousness. At that level, I will not be suffering, first of all. no shocking, no exaggeration. So you will be firm like a rock. Your mental frequency is stabilized. You will be standing firm like a rock. That is what Thiruvalluvar says. நிலையில் தெரியாது அடங்கியான் தோற்றம் மலையினும் வானப் பெரிது. So where we need mental stability, and this kind of pandemic time, the whole world needs stability of the mind, and to approach and do the things rightly without causing harm to anybody as well as to the self. And the most needed time, I think Doctor has taken up this concept. It is very easy. Understanding the basic science of the consciousness and the level of working, and having blessed by the Guru to bring down our frequency, that is possible only by the initiation of Kundalini Yoga, where we are able to concentrate our mind on the life force itself. And very easy to bring down the mental frequency from the peripheral level to the subconscious level. From subconscious level to superconscious, superconscious to universal consciousness is further easy by constant practicing and constantly introspecting. Because introspection, if you do only, our subconscious can go to superconscious and able to overcome the sin imprints and able to achieve merge with the superconscious, the universal consciousness, and get all the wealth for the family, for the society, for anybody. So this is what Swamiji has done it, practiced it, trained us to practice it. I think I have conveyed what Swamiji has given to us, a great treasure. Thank you one and all for listening to me. And I take this opportunity to thank Dr. who has taken up the right time, the right concept, a great treasure Swamiji has given. The Harya, the whole institution under our president is working to spread this peace, this knowledge, bring the whole world below the peripheral consciousness. Once we bring it, it gives the peace to the self, peace to the society, peace to the world. Achieving world peace will be very useful. So now straight away, so now Doctor has attacked where we have to concentrate. That is our consciousness. So, and that consciousness will definitely bring peace to everybody. By merging with Swamiji's consciousness, let me pray, let me wish and bless the whole world. Be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine, be blessed by the divine.
Thank you, Dr. Nakiran. Be blessed by the divine. Thank you again for taking us to the higher level of consciousness. Now let us call upon Dr. Jayaprakash. He will talk to us on the Maharishi's poems, Jnanakalanjiya Kavidaigal. Dr. Jayaprakash Ayya, welcome.
Valka Vayyakam, Valka Valamdan. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
And slightly raise it if you want. If you can.
Okay, let me open. If my topic is
Yes, Doctor. It's okay. Now it's okay.
Veda, the topic is new.
Maharishi's poems, Jnanakalanjiya Kavidaigal.
Yeah, my topic is not poems, actually, Vethathiri Maharishi philosophy. Let me explain, actually. Okay.
Okay.
Is the screen is seeing it, sir? Are you able to see in the screen?
Not yet. Not yet.
Able to?
Yeah. No, we are not. We are not getting the screen.
Not able to see in it, is it?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Try again. Go back and come.
Yeah. Okay. Let me open it in other.
Okay.
Okay. 1 minute. Just I will.
No problem.
Valka Vayyakam, Valka Vayyakam, Valka Valamdan. Be blessed by the divine power. Just I am opening it.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன் டாக்டர். When you disconnect and connect again, you may get it.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். Able to see it, sir?
Yes, sir. Now it's coming.
Are you able to hear it? வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
வாழ்க வளமுடன். We are getting it.